Okay, everybody, welcome. Those on the Zoom, hello, and those on the conference call. I appreciate you getting on here. Exciting stuff. That's the beauty, that's the power of what we have here in EXP, the power, the beauty of passive residual income. And so I'm going to talk more about that in a minute, but it's not just about what I've accomplished and what's happening, but that's there for you as well, as long as you try, as long as you give it effort. And so those things, you look at what I've done, you look at what I'm sharing with you guys now, and you got to look at it and turn it around as what if this knucklehead Vincent could do that, what could I do with my talent, my ability, my gifts, my talent, my drive? What could you do exactly? That's how I want you to look at it. I want you to look at it as if he could do that, I'm going to crush it. And you go out there and do what you need to do for you and your family, for your dreams and goals. Because let me tell you, there's a lot of people out there that have dreams and goals. There's a lot of people out there that have a wish and a desire to have passive residual income, but aren't doing the work. So they made a decision. They have a dream, a wish to do it, but they have not made the decision to do it. And even furthermore, because a decision without a commitment is ridiculous, is no different. Like I've said many a times, my decision to go to the gym and buy a gym membership was not a commitment to the gym, to my health. It was a decision to buy a gym membership. And 4 years later, I went 3 or 4 times. Okay, it was why? Because I was not committed to my outcome. I was not committed to what I wanted. I'm committed to what I want with creating residual income. You need to be committed for you and your family. That's the most important part. You need to be committed to what you want, your dreams, your goals, to what you want to accomplish is how you're going to get from zero to wherever that number is for you, whatever that is for you. Whether you want to make $1,000 a month in residual income for EXP revenue share, or you want to make $100,000 a month. It's your decision. You just have to determine what it is you want, how important it is for you, how committed you are to the daily method of operation that it's going to take to get you there. And then all you have to do is be willing to get some no's, be willing to struggle, be willing to have to go through what you're going to have to go through to get it. Because nobody can go through what you have to go through for you. Your price is different than my price. My price is different than your price. I wish sometimes, I don't know, really, I don't know, but sometimes I wish I had your price, because with my grind and your price, where would I be now? But it doesn't work that way, because I don't even know what your price is. I have no idea what your price is, and I have no idea what your tolerance level is and how passionate you are about receiving it. Only you can do that. Nobody else. Only you can determine whether it's too much, I can't handle it anymore. I'm done. I'm tapping out. And let me tell you, there's people on here right now listening to my voice that have tapped out multiple times, or threatened to, or tried to, or made a decision, an argument within their own self that I'm done. I just can't do this. It's not worth the fight. I've worked this hard and I've got this little. I've worked this hard. I've worked a mountain worth of work, and I've got a molehill. Yeah, that's true. That's the price you're going to have to pay. But in what's going to happen though, and this is what you need to realize, in the beginning, it's going to take a mountain of effort. Think about this. If you're a top producing agent right now, listen to my voice. Think about the effort it took to build your business, your real estate career. How much work did, and you probably forget, because we always forget about the pain that we went through building it, unless you're brand new and you're just going through that pain, and now it's starting to get a little easier. It's like rolling a rock uphill. You roll this big boulder uphill, and sooner or later you get to the other side, or a flat spot, and it gets really easy. And sometimes it's like climbing up that huge mountain and thinking, I just can't climb anymore. And you look at the top, you're like, oh my God, but I'm almost there. And you say, okay, I've got a little bit more in me. I've got just a little bit more in me. I can make it to the top of this mountain. And you get to the top, and then you look out there and you're like, oh shit. That's just the beginning. Look at that mountain I have to climb. And that's how it is sometimes. You're going to work your tail end off to get to a certain level, and you're going to think you made it. and all of a sudden you're going to look up and you're going to say, oh crap, that's in front of me. I got to go over that. And sometimes it's like that. And your price is your price, though. But all I know is you can get to the other side, because I want to believe. You need to understand. I want you to understand this. Really, hear me out right now. If you have a burning desire in your heart, in your gut, whatever that is, if you want it so bad it hurts, I promise you this: you also have what it takes to accomplish it. Because God is no jokester, or the universe, whatever it is that your being is. I don't want to impose my beliefs on you, but I'm not going to apologize for either. God created you. He created the heavens and the earth. They also created that desire inside you. Why? Because He believes you have it in you, more so than you believe. Just like I believe you have it in you more than you believe. I look at, I don't want to embarrass anybody, so I look at a certain person that I've talked to many a times, and many times I don't know if I can make it any further. And my belief in her ability and her strength, her desire, her potential is more stronger than her own belief in herself. That's what a leader's about. That's what a friend's about. That's what you're about. And so when you want to quit or stop, when you want to give up, you need to reach up. You need to reach out. You need to reach somewhere and get some help. It's no different if you've ever known anybody that was an alcoholic and going through the struggles of alcoholism, or quitting smoking, or quitting whatever. Or maybe somebody needs to lose 100 pounds of weight. They can't do it on their own. Because why? Because we're going to hit a wall. You're going to hit a wall at some point in time. Just like I mentioned earlier, you're going to climb up this peak. You're going to think you're almost there. And all you're going to do is you're going to get to that peak. And now you can see what's in front of you. You're going to be, holy crap, I don't know that I can do that. I don't know that I can climb that mountain. I don't know if I have it in me. And let me tell you, I was in that exact place in the last 6 months of my EXP career. Because I've climbed this big hill, and just being transparent with you guys, I climbed this big hill. But if you know anything about the compensation plan, FLQAs is how you get paid. And here I was, because I took a year and a half off to take care of Dad, and I didn't do as much as I should have, and probably could have, or absolutely no problem to it. I could have. And so I took a lot of time off, because I probably earned it. I worked really hard for 4 years. And then I looked up, and now I dropped down to 9 FLQAs. That means I'm only getting paid on 2 levels full pop. Because I'm getting the expansion share, but let me tell you, and it does add up, and it means a lot. But let me tell you, the loneliest numbers in EXP are 4, 9, 14, 19, 24. They're horrible numbers, because you just need one more. And so now I'm looking, I hit that peak. I got to where I was, I had 17 FLQAs, and all of a sudden the economy hit, and I lost a few, and then I had a few retire, and then I had a few that said, hey, I'm done. I've been doing this 25 years. I'm going to get a state job and get a retirement income. And a lot of things happen. So one of them took a cush job as a broker of record in Vermont. Okay, so things happen. And what happened was, because I let off my foot off the gas pedal. I stopped working. Not because of these people did that, or they went to these places. It was my fault. My decision, my error in judgment. I let my foot off the gas pedal. Why? Because I thought I was coming up on a peak. I thought I was getting up there on the peak. And what happened is I got to the peak, and I looked the other side, and now I've got a mountain to climb. I've got to rebuild to another. I've got to put another 10 selling distributor or agents in. And why? So we all have these struggles. And I looked up at it, and I said, I don't know if I've got it in me to do that. I'm going to be transparent with you. I don't know if I have it in me to do that, because what took me 4 years to get, I was looking at, it's going to take me 4 years to get the same thing. But in reality, what I did was I took my eyes off of the growth that I've accomplished, the knowledge that I've built, the stick-to-itiveness that I built, the thick skin that I built, the wisdom I built, the how to do it right this time. Is the first couple of years I failed and made mistakes, and I don't have that I've got wisdom now. So it's not going to take me long. Then I went to the event in Cabo San Lucas, and it wasn't so much that I spoke on stage there and what I said, but what I heard Rob Flick say, and what I heard Gene Frederick say. Those things blew me away, and they meant so much to me and where I'm. And I could regurgitate what they said, but if you're not at the same place I am, you're not going to hear the same message. because that room was full of 800, 1,000 people. And I heard that message. It meant something to me. And that's why it's so important to go to the events. You've got the build event coming up. Go to brentgove.com. You've got the build event coming up in San Antonio. You need to go there. If you want to build a revenue share, you need to go there. And you say, Vince, I've gone to 3 of those things and it really didn't do much for me. You're at a different place today than you were then. I promise you, I've been to a bunch of them and I got some warm fuzzies and I got to hang out with people and I got to take a vacation and write it off of my taxes and yeah, all those things. I got to hang out with you guys and the people there and all those things, but nothing touched me in the events like this one did. It brought me out of the woe is me. It brought me out of the depths of despair. It brought me out of the fact that I'm just, I just need to settle for what it is. And then I'm like, oh, hell no. Because why? It's not, listen, it's not because of what I need out of it. It's what you need out of it. See, what turned me around in my eyes was the value, the benefit, the leadership, the drive that me moving forward, the speed of leader determines the pace of the pack. Me moving and me not moving forward was a disservice to you, to our team. It was a complete selfish disservice to you for me to stop or me to quit or me to settle for or me not to move forward. It was a complete, utter disrespect for you and selfishness on my part. And it drove me nuts thinking about that. And I'm like, oh, no, hell no. That's not me. That's not who Vincent is. I will move forward. I will move on because it's important to me that I serve, that I become something that you can say, if he can do it, I can do it. If that knucklehead can do it, if that guy can do it, if he can fight through what he has with my talent, my ability, I can do it. And I believe that of each and every one of you. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you are. I believe each and every one of you have as much or more to offer the world than me. And that's not putting me down. I'm not putting down myself. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about how great you are, how blessed you are, how much talent and ability your heart beats every day. And you might think, Vincent, I'm not that good. You are. You need to look at the blessings that you have. Right now, my blood is pumping. My heart is pumping in 24 hours a day, gallons of blood a year. And I don't think nothing of it. It just happens. I can see, I can hear the many blessings I have. I have the ability to drive. I have the ability of stick to it. I have the ability of doing the follow-ups. You have abilities too. You have talents too. You have what it's going to take to get you to where you need to go. Why? Because you have things that you need. You have things that you desire for you in your life. You do. And each and every, hang on, I need to do this. Each and every one of us have things that are important to us and our family. So I need you to then decide that you are going to make a commitment to what you need for you and your family. You're going to make a commitment that you're going to do your daily method of operation, whatever that is. If you need help figuring out what your daily method of operation is, then you need to call me or call one of your upper team members. You need to make a commitment to your daily method of operation because you know what? The only way you're going to get top to any peak, and I want you to understand this. I've talked about getting to a peak and looking out there in the great beyond. And you might see that there's just another peak there, but you may not. Your peak may be the first peak you have to climb. And yet you're sitting there. There's a thing at Mount Everest. And how much time I got? I got a couple minutes. So there's a place in Mount Everest called the Halfway House. It's called the Halfway House because halfway up the mountain is a luxurious, resort there. And a lot of people, they climb the mountain. And if you've been on these Zooms before, these calls before, you probably heard me tell the story. I love this analogy because some of you are looking at the peak of Mount Everest and you haven't even left base camp because you're thinking the climb is too much and you have no idea how tall your mountain is. It's not Mount Everest. I promise you, that's the tallest mountain in the world. That's my mountain. Your mountain is not Mount Everest. Your mountain might be a little sand mountain over there in Pismo Beach or Or Fallon, Nevada, your mountain might be like driving up to the top of Donner Summit, which I think is 5,500 feet. Your mountain might be nothing, but you're too scared to get the base of the mountain and say, I'm going to climb this sucker. And so there's a place in Mount Everest called Halfway House. And what happens is these climbers, they have the vision of going to the top of Mount Everest. They have this vision. They spent years exercising and energy and training and education and building up all the money and the supplies and everything. And they go out there and they get at the base camp of Mount Everest and they start climbing and they get to the halfway house. I was at the halfway house. That was my halfway house a couple months ago. And you get to the halfway house, and all of a sudden it's warm in there. It's toasty. They got the fire going. They're drinking hot toddies, martinis. They're having a little bit of food, and they're resting and they're relaxing. And they fought hard to get to. It took a lot to get to the halfway. It took me a lot to get to my halfway house. It took me a lot. It took them a lot to get there. It's just not like you get in the car and you drive halfway up. No, it's halfway up the mountain. So you have to climb. You got to go through snow. You have to work your ass off to get to the halfway house. But what happens is they get comfortable. And then they think about it getting out there in the cold, and they know that next climb is going to be challenging. They know that next climb is going to be bitter cold. The oxygen levels are going to be slim. If you've ever seen them, they carry oxygen bottles on their back. They don't have any food. They got oxygen. And they're climbing up the snow, and they're just going so slow. And the people sit there at the halfway house and they get comfortable. They get comfortable. And you know what happens? Most of them don't even walk out the door. Well, that's not bad. I made it here. I'm at the half, and all their other buddies are sitting around, all the other quitters, all the other people that gave up, they're sitting around patting each other on the back, and yeah, you made it here. And they're all comfortable. Why? Because misery likes company. And you know what? And all of a sudden, they're all sitting around, and they're all happy. They're drinking their hot toddies. They're eating food. They're sitting by the campfire, and all of a sudden, they hear a big ding, ding, and the place goes silent. Because that ding is somebody else that made it to the top, and they think about themselves, Rick, I could have been there. It wasn't that long since this morning when they left, and instead I'm sitting here in the comfort and the misery and my own sorrow, thinking, "Oh, I got a toe ache. I hurt my," and they're thinking they settled for. And then there was a few that made it to the top, and they're thinking about they could have been there because it wasn't that long. They're not thinking about the struggle it took to get there. At this point in time, they're thinking about the pain of regret. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret lasts life. These people settled for it, and I was going to settle for it. Have you settled for it? Where in your life have you settled for it? Have you stopped growing? Have you stopped going where you need to go? What in your life have you done where you've stopped trying and you look back and said, I could have done better. I could have been that. I could have done this. I could have been there. And then you look back one day and somebody might be looking at me. I heard it while I was speaking in Cabo. Let me tell you, I heard it while I was speaking in Cabo. There was a couple on the stage or just really close to the stage. I don't remember seeing them because I just heard it. I was in a zone, and I heard them say, are you kidding me? We've been here longer than him. We've sold hundreds of homes, and we don't have nothing for revenue share. You know what? They got to a halfway house because they didn't think that they could. They got at the foot of that mountain and said, I don't need to climb that mountain. And then somebody was weaker with them, somebody that didn't have the talent as them, they went ahead and went up there and rang that bell of going to the summit. See, they don't ring the bell at the summit. The halfway house rings the bell at the summit saying somebody got there because they got radios and everything. Don't let this be your halfway house. Don't let real estate be your halfway house. Don't just get stuck at base camp. Because why? Because you're destined for greatness. You're destined for more. And people need you to move forward. You're not holding them back because hey, look, if I quit and you quit, that's you. That's all you. I don't take responsibility for that. But I do take responsibility if I do not move forward and bring you with me. That's my thing. That may be your thing. You might say, Jeffrey says, hey, look, Venture, you could quit, and I don't care. I'm moving on anyways. And that's where you need to be. But there are a lot of people, I feel, that it's my duty, it's my ethical obligation to finish this race. I'm going to the summit. Are you going with me? I'm going to the summit. I'm not stopping at the halfway house. I'm going to the summit. What are you going to do? Are you going to start into the base camp and I'm at the halfway house? And I don't know what your base camp is, and I don't know where your halfway house is. We all start in a different place. And the other thing is, I don't know what your summit is. You don't know what your summit is. You think it's up there at the top of Mount Everest, but I promise you it's not. Because all you have to do is go through a couple no's. It's like a blister on your foot. You got to deal with it. Oh, you got a little frostbite. Oh, you got a little cold. You got a little hungry. Hey, look, it's going to be struggle along the way, I guarantee you. But how much endurance, how much struggle are you willing to go through to get there? It's never too much. It's you quitting on yourself. The battle is not too much for you to bear. It's you giving up. Because if you're committed to go through it, the walls, the barriers that you have to go through are not as big as you think. They're not. Because why? Because once you go through them, you're like, that wasn't so bad. The fight, people say all the time, oh, it's not it's not getting there. It's the journey. Bullshit. The journey sucks. Let's be real. The journey sucks. It does, but you got to embrace the suck. You got to embrace the grind. Why? Because that's what you want, and that's what you deserve, and that's your destiny. I'm telling you right now, I believe in each and every one of you more than I believe in myself. And I know I'm going to do it, and I can do it. Why? Because I can take some toleration. I can take some pain. I can take some effort. Hey, look, I just got out of my extra room. I've decided, you've heard me, you've been around here, you know I don't like exercise. I ain't running nowhere, and I don't like exercise. Never been a fan of it. But sooner or later, I had to make a decision for me and my health. I'm 61 now. I'm not getting younger. And the older you get, the faster you age and the worse. So I made a decision, and then I made a commitment that I was going to do. And let me tell you, this is painful. And it's ridiculous what I can barely tolerate in the exercise fitness department. Why? Because I haven't been working out. So I equate it to my cold calling. You look at it, it's like, that's ridiculous. I can't make 2 cold calls. It hurts me. I might sweat. My brain hurts. My body is so painful. Hey, look, I was there too. And you're probably sitting at the gym for an hour and a half. You're probably running 6 miles. You're probably doing, and here I can barely stretch without getting winded. You think, well, that's pathetic. Yeah, thank you. I agree with you. That's pretty damn pathetic. But that's me. That's where I started, but I made a commitment, and I'm going to move forward with it. You need to look at your prospecting of revenue share agents. Maybe it's your pain is the same way, but you can't make it through 7 minutes. 7 minutes, you can make 7 phone calls. Maybe it's 2 phone calls in 7 minutes. But sooner or later, you have to, because your summit is not that tall. And you may get stopped at a halfway house. Maybe you're at one right now. But I promise you, if you keep going, if you keep moving forward, you keep moving day after day, you will reach the summit, your summit, for you and your family. I promise, I guarantee you. The only thing I know is that if you don't move forward on a daily basis, you will never make it. And you will look at one day, and somebody beside you, somebody on this call, somebody that you know, somebody else that joined after you, somebody else that you experienced, somebody else who's standing on stage, somebody else, and they said, I did this, and you're going to look up at me and say, crap, that's the bell ringing, and somebody else, well, you're sitting in the comfort of your own success of selling real estate, and you're going to look up one day and it's like, I can't believe it. They got 1,000 people in their team, and I've got 3. And I've been in longer, and I've sold more real estate. That's going to be you. Don't let that be you. But if it is you, it's never too late to get out there and get in the fight. Only if you quit and you climb down your mountain and go home. And that's not what you're meant to do. That's not what you're made of. That's not your journey. That's not your destiny, and you damn sure don't deserve that, and your family don't deserve. They deserve you to go forward for you and your family. I hope this helped somebody. I hope I didn't beat up on you guys too much. I don't know where this came from. I just got fired up and excited. I hope you have a blessed weekend.